What you guys are going to hear is a 1-hour meeting showing MCM and Figg into combination. The meeting took place that ultimately gave MCM Figg the contract. So it's going to be the live meeting, and it is self-explanatory if you listen to the entire video.
And we've asked the...
So in the beginning of this long 1-hour audio tape you're going to listen to, I did some editing. I got out some of the stuff they're talking about, trees, etc. And the first clip you're going to hear is Linda Figg talking about, and I moved it from the middle of the video, end of the video, to the front, and I'll put it back where it belonged also. So you'll hear it twice. But you're going to hear her being confronted, and she's not knowing how to get on her own structure for maintenance, etc. And then they come up with she comes up with the statement that it's 150 years is how long the structure will happen, and that all the concrete is in post tension, is all in compression, guys. Even though she's talking about the roof there, she's saying that everything's in compression. So she appears to be, how would I say it, full of it. Okay, a little more detail. So Denny Pate's in here, and you'll hear Denny Pate. You'll hear a couple of Figg people. A couple of things you heard at the tail end of people as I edited them out because they're just the architects talking about the engine, trees, etc., as I said. Then you'll hear the other side. That's the people at the meeting questioning them. They're from the municipalities around there and FIU also. So you're not missing much. I will load the full link if you guys really want to hear the full long link, but you'll probably save yourself just listening to my edit. I did not edit her out besides a couple of pieces where she got in long-winded about nothing.
That column of concrete that encases the elevator,
yes.
Let's call it the overlook.
Yes.
How do you get to the roof of that overlook?
Well,
No,
yeah,
we won't need to get to the roof 30 years later when we got to re-roof it, short of, I'm sorry.
You know, it's all post-tension concrete, so it's everything's in compression. So you're going to maximize that durability well over 100. I mean, it's going to be like 150 plus years. So we don't want to encourage anybody to get on here.
The committee to please, either stay in this room or split up during lunchtime, and certainly don't discuss anything you've seen this morning until we're in a public forum. So I think with that, I've said all I need to say, and I'll turn it over to MCM. George?
Thank you, Bob. It's always a nice pleasure to visit my alma mater, and not only visit the alma mater, but be able to present you all the project that we're presenting today. When we were invited to this process, you all wanted an iconic bridge. I turned to Bob, our civil director, and asked him, they want an iconic bridge. And he said, well, we got to go with the Figg. They're worlds ahead as it relates to iconic bridge structure and accelerated building construction. So we said, well, FIU loves World Ahead program, and that's what we got here is an extremely passionate team. You know the passion that MCM brings. For those that don't know MCM, I'll give you a very brief recap of MCM. MCM has been a local product, 6 brothers working together. We have offices in Florida, headquartered in Florida, Texas, and Panama. We've been doing this for over 30 years successfully, and we've done about 30 design build projects. We both work civil and general work here. I am proud past member of the AGC, part of the Florida AGC, part of the Florida, the Advisory Dean's Council for FIU in the School of Business and in Engineering. And we're very proud of this team. I am very happy that we were able to get with Linda on this job. So we're working with 4 different projects. We're happy to have participated in the Cuban Memorial Project across the street. There's part of our family giving, and I look forward to being part of the giving to the Brothers to the Rescue. It's one of the mission statements of our family. And with that, I'm going to turn over to Bob.
Thank you, George. Good morning. My name is Bob Murphy. I am the Director of Office. With me on the team is Rodrigo Izaza. Rodrigo is one of our top senior project managers. Rodrigo has been given a lot of our most complicated and complex projects, and we've selected him to be on this team. Some of the projects, as you can see, include the I-95 managed lanes and also some significant tolling operations in Florida, both on the Sawgrass and on the Hef. Part of my job as being the Director of Civil Operations is to put the right team together for the right client. And in this case, there was no doubt, George mentioned, as soon as I heard what kind of project FIU was looking for here, the call was to Linda Figg, and that was the only it only took one call, and Linda jumped all over it. So with that, Linda's second generation firm, decades of iconic structures, and I'd like to hand it over to Linda.
All of us on the Figg team are very excited about your bridge. We have a passion for creating bridges as art every day. And that has resulted in 358 awards for signature iconic bridges around the country. This includes 3 presidential awards through the National Endowment for the Arts. There's only 5 of these awards ever given by the President of the United States, and we're very thrilled that our customers have 3 of those. My passion is the aesthetics and sustainability, and we would all be very honored to work for you. And I would fill the role of aesthetics and sustainability director, bringing many years of experience in this area. And we're recently working on the Gateway pedestrian bridge for Florida's capital city, which is under construction, will be open in March. A very unique and one-of-a-kind bridge like yours will be. We bring Denny Pate. Denny is a world-renowned cable stay bridge designer. Denny has been with us for more than 35 years and has accomplished 30 one-of-a-kind cable stay bridges. This gives us the flexibility to do very unique things with bridges that are not only functional but aesthetically pleasing. And he has more hours in design on the Sunshine Skyway Bridge than any person living or not living. It's exciting. We also bring you an award-winning team of a group of specialists who can accomplish all the various different aspects of your project and have a lot of background on FIU's campus. We have Miller Legg, award-winning landscape architect, specialist with proven FIU experience. Randy Burkett. Randy is an internationally acclaimed lighting architect. He designs light, and he designs light on all of our bridges because we really appreciate his amazing talent. Gia Sol, unsurpassed experience in really optimizing our foundations, an FIU graduate, and founded by 2 FIU graduates is AP, who will handle all our general civil work. So with Miller Legg, Michael Kroll will be the landscape designer and landscape architect. He has a strong background of design here on campus and knows how to integrate this project in a remarkable way. Randy Burkett, he lit the St. Louis Arch when no one else could figure out how. He is an amazing talent in lighting, and we're just so proud that he is part of this team and every single project that we do around the world. So every bridge has a story, and it begins with a vision. And this one started with a blank canvas, but on that canvas is your vision for design and values. And so incorporating all these things as inspiration, the things that you told us in the RFP and that we heard were important to you, we've integrated those into a holistic approach. A vision that reflects the beauty of a community's sense of place and how that connects to each other. So the benefits you'll receive from the MCM Figg team is an innovative signature pedestrian bridge that creates excitement and encourages crossing and gathering. Built using local labor and local materials with low maintenance concrete features, an all concrete bridge for over 100-year life. Built ahead of schedule and showcasing accelerated bridge construction. This is really a cornerstone of FIU and protecting vehicles, pedestrians, and cyclists' connectivity throughout construction. Gateway landscaping, streetscaping, dramatic lighting, and many unique sustainable features for a Platinum Invest sustainability rating. So this is about a bridge worth walking. And in walking, it means connecting, and connecting to the Sweetwater community and the FIU campus. There's so many wonderful places to connect. Between City Hall and the Main Street area, 109, FIU Engineering Campus, Performing Arts, the stadium. There's much that will be celebrated in using this bridge. And so an innovative signature bridge is both structure and symbol. It is both function and aesthetics. And it's integrated in a holistic approach.
So for bridges structure, this concept that we bring features a 320-foot long overall bridge length with the 175-foot span over the roadway with the 18-foot 6 vertical clearance. We're preparing and proposing a 31-foot 8-inch out-to-out bridge width, which includes a 16-foot wide canopy over the walking surface. This is a cross-section through the bridge, and so we have the full requested 30-foot of deck width for the walk surface with the 16-foot canopy. That's about 53 or 54% shading of the walk surface, and we've integrated the central drain system and 15 feet of vertical clearance for the walkers. The single pylon is very delicate, from 3'6" at the top to 6 feet just at deck level. There are 5 sets of stays arranged in a symmetrical pattern down the height of the pylon, which is 109 feet in height. But the innovative part of this design is that we've taken a conventional I-beam and basically expanded it to use the lower flange as the walk surface. And what this does is it lowers the amount of height that the walkers, pedestrians would otherwise have to climb compared to, say, just a conventional beam structure over the road. So that will save them travel time and number of steps. One of the critical parameters for this bridge, and it really drove a lot of the engineering behind the bridge design, is this frequency requirement of 3 hertz. Obviously that's required for a pedestrian structure because you want to prevent the kind of movements that would be disconcerting to the pedestrians. And because of the connection between stiffness of the structure and mass, as we went through the various iterations, it proved it once again that in order to get higher and higher frequencies, you have to increase the stiffness of the bridge while maintaining a low mass. This is the way you get to the 3 hertz criteria. So the combination of the mass and stiffness of this structure will in fact meet the 3 hertz criteria. It will provide maximum walking comfort for the users. The open web design reduces the weight of the structure while maintaining the stiffness of the system. The cable stays adds substantial stiffness but very little weight, and the combination of those two is how we really got to achieving the 3 hertz criteria. Drainage is a very important part of the project. We integrated that pretty much from day one. For the bridge deck, the drainage goes to the center, and then there's a central pipe that carries the water to the end of the project where it will be taken to the ground and collected. And then similarly, the upper surface of the canopy has a trough shape to it, which captures the water, conveys it to the project, and then down the last vertical member to the ground level for dispersion.
So the aesthetics has a lot of design inspiration. And this comes from the natural environment, technology and innovation, and educational excellence. Whether it's the origami antenna at FIU or the Florida panther and the beautiful landscape, all of these things were used as things that helped us to be inspired about what this bridge should be for you. And so there's a lot of symmetry and rhythm. There's a uniform color of concrete, which is accomplished through the common source of materials. We have incorporated a blue canopy ceiling in the curved component that shields the walkers. This is because this is in harmony with the landscape of the sky as you look upward. And then the structural shape itself is actually a closed section, a very thin section that creates a slender ribbon across the roadway and the canal. What this also does is creates with the concrete a buffering for sound so that it's quieter for the user. Its functional bridge sculpture, the uniform ribbon of a slender deck, The origami feel associated with the open, varying strut layout, whether it's tighter struts as we go over the canal or more open as we go across the longer span of the highway. The tapering slender pylon really creates a dramatic centerpiece that tells you about the gateway that goes between both sides. It's a holistic design. And in carrying this whole garden experience across the bridge, the struts are like the branches, and then there are landscape elements along the sides of the edge of the bridge. And so in looking at walking this bridge and coming into this wonderful sculptural plaza, we enter the grand staircase, which is much wider, and it's got a curve. It's 30 feet. That curve matches an overlook, which is tied to the staircase. We have railing, which is a stainless steel mesh, but we used a very long section, so we'd have fewer posts to incorporate. These struts in the middle offer lots of opportunities for gathering and lingering, whether it's the tables and chairs or benches or the opportunity to host maybe even sculpture hanging in the centerpiece of the struts for an art exhibit. So the shielding provides some great opportunities. We have an elegant custom designed elevator. It has lots of glass. The cabs will have one transparent wall that is facing FIU for exceptional views, and the elevator structure has transparent walls. We also challenged ourselves to create a special, unique design. We call it the Fiu Flower, in which FIU is patterned into a design that can be incorporated into the tower elements as a unique feature or also along the boundary edges of the walkway. A grand staircase on the south also has gateway palms that leads the walker to the bridge. There's a bike track on both sides of the staircase, 15 feet width that matches with the bridge entrance and the open stainless steel railing. The bridge features options for what we call pausing. And this opportunity to pause includes using these struts for maybe the use of hammocks, where the students can enjoy maybe a peaceful moment near the canal. Tables and benches mounted on strut locations with electronic plug-ins. Solar-powered fans for maximum airflow to really accentuate the wonderful breezes. It's sustainable energy, innovation, because we can push more than 40% airflow without increasing the power, and it's stainless steel for low maintenance. The bridge could feature coffee and vendor carts at bridge overlooks, so between the struts. Also, that could include like FIU game day, fan apparel. So you really want to come to the bridge to be excited about the opportunity to go to an FIU game. And there's signature Panther-inspired benches, which could also be an option. Here's some of the designs that we've come up with. Benches could be created with input from the art students at FIU. And these contemporary planters can be frame sides of the Panther benches to give the impression of the Panther walking through tall grasses. And this will be a model of sustainability. We will achieve the highest rating of platinum in the INVEST program. From the very first day of design all the way through construction, this will be the most sustainable pedestrian bridge in America. Also, through the LEED Neighborhood Development Silver Rating, which you have asked for, we will easily be able to accomplish this through integrating open spaces and wider pedestrian areas. We have a number of descriptive elements that we will be able to accomplish very actively through the design that we have prepared.
The other beauty of this is a lion's share of the construction of this job. We'll be able to do this a majority of the time working on this without disrupting the current situation with 109th or the campus, either vehicular or pedestrian. We know FIU is worlds ahead with the accelerated bridge construction. We want to bring our little piece to it. We will build this main span, 170-foot long, 900-ton element adjacent on your property, available for viewing. We will build it up on tower. The self-propelled modular transporter units have an ability to adjust height only up to 40 inches. So we're going to build it at height. We're going to slide the transporters underneath it at the time we're ready, and then we will move it out. Step by step, here's our element that we're going to be casting, the 175-foot main span in the casting yard adjacent to the bridge. We're concurrently with that, in part because of accelerated bridge construction, concurrently with the construction of the main span, we're going to construct the substructure, foundations and pylons and piers, including the bulkhead wall in the canal. When ready, we'll bring the transporters underneath. We will walk it out to A Street. We will turn it 90 degrees to north-south position. We will walk it to the bridge, and we'll drop it down on the pylons, on the piers. The smaller span over the canal will be cast in place. We will set up some shoring and cast it in place. As we are nearing completion of the bridge, as we are working on the final touches of the plazas north and south, we will then get into 109th Avenue to work on the west side first. We will prepare the west side. We will put pedestrians to and on the new west side and across our bridge. After that, we'll do the east side as a final element. That is approximately 3.5 to 4 months worth of work. Safety is very important to MCM, not only to our people, but also the public that engages in our projects. We have over 2.5 million of staff hours to date without any incident. We've been awarded several awards. All workers are 30-hour OSHA safety trained or more. We do engage a job site orientation, and no worker is allowed on site until they have their safety orientation. And our EMR currently is 0.72, which is quite good. Quality control is also critical. Quality to our business is essential. We are ISO 9001 certified. As such, both the design and the quality control run independently and report directly to the principal in charge. One of the elements of quality was Figg's involvement in the I-35 project. Because that bridge collapsed, the element of quality became at a much higher level. Figg engaged that and created the gold standard for quality. And with that, they have essentially a flow chart for design and quality control and quality assurance during design work. Ultimately, here is our plan to build the job. We're going to finish it 5.5 months earlier and then limited by the RFP. We intend to install the main precast member main span in the summer of 17. We will complete the bridge in May of 18, and we have a design period. The total period of construction is about 19 months. That's it.
So as we're wrapping up, we are so excited about your bridge that we decided to create a working model. So we're going to put that here on the table so you can see the bridge in 3D.
Take the table. There we go. Safety first, right?
So you asked for the desire of 30 feet width, and that's what we provided. You asked for the opportunity to have covered space. More than half of the bridge has covered space. It's integrated as part of the design, and it's very unique that there's a truss system and cable stays. There's 9,400 square feet of event space provided by the bridge, including having overlooks on each side that integrate with the stairs and the special elevator systems. This is a very unique bridge in that this entire main span, which will be built over to the side, and accomplished an accelerated bridge construction will be able to be accomplished in just an overnight assembly in an off-peak summer weekend night. So that this really keeps everything open throughout design and construction for the maximum opportunities of traffic components. We're ready for questions and
I hope you all appreciate the passion and the reason we're so fortunate to engage Figg in this process. Obviously, we're in love with this project. Our passion, and obviously if she falls in love, because what she's done here is phenomenal, modeling and both physical and graphic. I hope you get a sense for the spirit of the process, and with that, we thank you again, like always, to be here and present. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we're ready for Q&A.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's all yours. Can I get closer to that image? I have just a question. That you talk that is a grand staircase,
yes,
and it's 30 foot wide.
yes,
What's the width above?
15.
15. And over here, I didn't hear the word grand staircase. So what's the width of this staircase?
Pardon?
It's 15.
15.
On the first side, and on the second level, it drops down again at 15.
15.
Okay.
It's 10-6.
10,
Yeah,
10-6.
we go.
Okay, so it's 10-6 and then 10-6, compared to a much wider,
Yes,
grander staircase on the other side.
yes,
And I noticed that your flood wall comes right out to the water's edge as it exists today. Is that right?
yes.
And did you have discussions with the Water Management District as to how to accomplish that?
We had our A&P, who is our general civil consultant, my name is Dwight Dempsey, I'm the design manager. We did have some coordination with the Southern Florida Management District, and that flood wall would be in accordance with their criteria for that area.
And you felt getting the flood wall out to maximize the width of the plaza would work,
Yes.
the way you did it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Said that the seating furniture was an add-on. So should we?
That was
Mentally, we should
optional.
say it's not in the project.
Yeah, we weren't sure exactly, there's so many different ways that this bridge can be used, and we wanted to make sure there was a good conversation with you about all of those different elements before, considering those kinds of parts.
This discussion has to be factored into all the cost issues and everything, but I like the fact that they're designed into the bridge, as opposed to just something you might have as a tacky add-on later. I'd rather it be conceptually integrated at some point.
Yes. Well, and it's set up so that this central truss kind of sculpture down the middle that the students and people who use the bridge can walk through with a unique sculptural design. It offers us an opportunity of sort of a kit of parts to be able to frame this sort of venue or event space in a whole variety of different ways, depending on what's going to happen at the bridge that day. We were thinking about it in terms of its flexibility to host different kinds of things, to really be an active bridge, to be something that people really want to connect with each other, connect with the community and those types of things. So that's why we thought this was kind of an interesting area for the overlook and multi-purpose, different spaces. And as you come up the staircase, you get a view of the bridge that is very unique to the side. So you get to kind of engage with, I'm getting ready to experience the facility.
I have one more question on that exact point. I know this is design build, and I know there's limitations to what we can do, but I know also towards, as you get into construction plans, you have some flexibility. And so my broad question is, if it was important that both landings be as grand as possible, you've got a grand location on the FIU side.
Yes.
You haven't used the word grand on the other side, but If in the construction you found a way to make both entrances equally grand, is that something you think you could work through just because there's two partners, there's Sweetwater and there's FIU, and each one's going to want to have an entrance to its community that is at least as good as its neighbor?
Well, and you know, this was, this area, we spent a lot of time on because we wanted to do that very thing.
Equal does not mean the same.
Unless you're in the Supreme Court arguing the case.
So we wanted to do that. We found that in the requirements, there is a boundary that says that your stairs can't start, but for, what is it? Is it 50 feet?
Offset.
There's a 50 feet offset. If we could be flexible in that offset, there's a whole host of things we can do here.
South
But
Florida Water Management will not be flexible in that offset.
in that offset, that was our restriction, really. I mean,
What, is that a culvert job or something, or?
Access to the
because we would have loved to put the entrance of the staircase on this side, because then it just naturally leads you into that area, and that's what. So we designed it based on the fact that that was a set criteria, and you know, if we can work through that, certainly. I mean, we would have loved to have done the grand.
I'm actually addressing the fact that on the Sweetwater side, the bridge, the staircase width is 10 feet. Something a lot less grander than the widths that you see on the FIU side. And even if you have to keep everything on the west side of the bridge, what flexibilities do you have when you go to construction plans to make them more equal, even if it's just in dimensions? Sure, they're different, but they're at least dimensionally the same. The theory is the same number of people are going up need to be able to come down. So if you need that kind of access on the south side, you're going to need the same access on the other side. In theory, the same number of people going up as going down. So at least that's an observation I make. I'm not looking for an answer. I'm just saying, gee, when we get down to construction plans, it would be nice to know that somehow they were equalized in terms of their grandeur.
With that north plaza, Mike will probably add to this, is it balancing out between that 50-foot offset with the Water Management District, but also that north plaza is fairly narrow. And any time when we look at various configurations of that staircase, and that's why we oriented to go below the structures, because anything else that would not be inhibited if the staircase was utilized for an event of some sort.
But to go back to what Linda said, at least one of the things you considered was a second 10-foot wide staircase that would go westward.
Yes.
Well, when you take 10 and 10 and you put them together, that's the equivalent carrying capacity of 20 feet.
Yes.
And it begins to approximate what's on the other side.
Yes, just in a different configuration.
But you didn't include it in your plans. And so I'm sort of curious as to why you didn't.
I'll give you one guess. One guess. Tom, you got a lot of product here. This is not, we're excited about it, but there's just nothing there.
The grant is off by 1 decimal place.
Huh? You got it, and not only that, what we were looking at is the accelerated building. Of course, we're the construction side, they're the design side. We're excited about never bothering anybody and just swinging that bridge over. It's a unique feeling. Dr. Adderad said he doesn't think it's happened in the United States, so we're this would be a pioneering job, and it's testament to the models of what FIU is doing on the accelerated building. So. There's just nothing there.
I'm off that point. Go back to what you said. The bridge basically takes its position across the highway in one night.
Yes, sir.
One
We will build the pieces.
One
Bob, tell me when I'm out of turn. Piece. Well, this piece gets built. This piece is built here, and it swings over on the summer.
It drops in.
And drops in on the summer night. So everybody will say, wow.
One night. And it supports itself before we put the cables on. It's the cables that we need to be able to handle the frequency for the pedestrian movement. If you load the whole bridge up, we want this to be very comfortable for the user. The concrete allows us to do that. The stiffness of these stays allow us to do that. The whole frame system allows us to do that in a unique way. That's why we're integrating a truss and a cable stay structure all as one unit, which
Linda, go back to the one day movement.
One day.
All right, that takes that, now the next section to the north. Is that a second day, a week later, a month later?
That's going to be cast in place because we are out of the fray of all of these items. And so it's much easier to take then the form work that was used here and recycle that into this component here, just in a shorter.
So what's the time frame on that northern segment?
The entire casting of it?
Well, the installation of it, because I get the southern
Yes.
2/3 of it is one night. It suddenly appears because you build it off-site
Yes.
and moved it.
Yeah, we're going to create a temporary deck to actually support the form one and then cast it. It's probably.
I'm thinking of timing. A month, 6 months?
No, it's a few months. I didn't.
90 days.
Yeah.
So 90 days, plus or minus. So what you do is you swing the one bridge in place, the southern 2/3, and then another 90 days to pour the other one in place. And then at least the major portion of the bridge is in place, and you're working now on the landings thereafter, right?
The landings and the stays.
And the states.
These members.
Okay.
But those are installed by working on the already completed deck. So the strength of the bridge deck system and the roof, it'll carry all the loads. It meets all strength and serviceability criteria. The stays are really for the additional stiffness we need to meet the frequency.
I have one last question that I wasn't expecting to answer. What is your towers called at each end?
The pylon, at each end?
Yeah, where the elevators are located? What is that thing called?
The landing, the overlook.
Yes, overlook.
Okay.
Overlook.
So that column of concrete that encases the elevator,
Yes.
let's call it the overlook,
Yes.
how do you get to the roof of that overlook?
Well,
No,
yeah,
we won't need to add to the roof 30 years later when you want to re-roof it, short of, I'm sorry.
You know, it's all post-tension concrete, so it's everything's in compression. So you're going to maximize that durability well over 100. I mean, it's going to be like 150 plus years. So we don't want to encourage anybody to get on here.
No, I didn't say that. I mean on your
up
that.
here.
Yes.
Oh, up here. Well, that would just be
Service
hatch,
And it's
internal.
Yeah, no, it's not publicly accessible.
But you answered my question. There's a service hatch.
Yes.
For maintenance.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I was thinking public space.
Yes, I was too.
I never used the word public, but.
No, I know you didn't.
You have permit to build the flood wall as well, as part of the north
Yes,
plaza?
yes.
And how far does that extend the flood wall into the north plaza? Is it the whole length of it, or?
Well, it creates enough room for a walkway in front of our tower here.
Then how far west are you going to? It's only up to the bridge or?
Right there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to see.
So it's probably
Might be on that drawing.
40, 50 feet west of the bridge. There's a water outfall area somewhere over here. I don't know where that is, but, and then I know that you didn't go to the edge of the bridge and you stopped short.
It returns into the slope. And 90 here and an angle there.
Does anyone on your team know where the water outfall is, since I'm familiar with where that is, and where is that? Would be on this?
110.
The design of this, bulkhead wall, we call it, we're just completing actually the third phase of Red Road at 57th Avenue. You can see something very similar to this in Hialeah.
Red Road and where?
From 26th to 65th.
Avenues.
Yeah, streets.
57th
57th Avenue. It's approximately, I think altogether, the 3 jobs is approximately 10,000 feet.
So you're putting in a flood wall on that canal?
Yes, yes, so it's a post and panel, we call it a post and panel, 24-inch pile, panel behind it, and in this case, it was a precast element, 24 feet long, that sat on top. It's a 3-foot overhang underneath. It's a lot more substantial because it's a barrier wall. It is the edge of pavement, and it has an impact, auto impact loading. But it is essentially the same thing for the canal that runs north-south on River.
So I understand the constraints, I generally understand the constraints. And I understand that there's a hard constraint on South Water Management District so they can clean out the historic bridge.
No, that's the one.
Stopping on the trash.
No, that's the 109 bridge.
Yeah, I know. It's too bad you can't have the elevator on the west side, even if you had to have a long, straight bridge on the northernmost edge. But I guess you just couldn't fit that in.
We went through so many options.
We got a lot of iterations of that end. So, we'd be happy to share those with you.
The advantage is that most of that stairwell is actually covered on that side.
Yes.
And that is one of the things when we looked at the bridge design and the plaza design, is really to embrace those areas that are under the bridge, because all of a sudden they're more usable space, like Andy was indicating. Now you have shaded space that's protected and can be utilized. So that was something else that we really did look at.
I think you'd want it so that the sides are enclosed, so there's no hiding space there.
Yes. And our it's a working model, so it might not all be.
Yeah, at this scale, there's certain things we can't show, like the fencing on the model.
The rail.
At this scale.
At that scale, we couldn't.
But as far as approaching the elevator, that's an enticement,
Yes.
and there is an option it's just a different kind of enticement coming from this side. But depending on what ultimately happens in terms of bus pickup out there, it might be more important to have it on this side than that side anyway.
At the southern end, do you consider a potential future bus lane?
Yes. Yes. All of those width requirements for additional capacity along the highway were incorporated into our layout.
Yeah, we offset distance criteria for the plaza, and meets that criteria.
One more question related to my earlier one. That structure that's at each end, I'm going to call it the elevator tower.
Okay.
Is it doing anything else other than holding the elevator?
It's an elevator tower.
It's an elevator tower.
Elevator tower, and it has the vestibules.
The vestibules are enclosed in it, so the elevator shaft is at the center core of that building, and you basically have an outer core that is going to serve as your vestibules at each level. So for each level, your elevator opens in 2 directions, front and back. When you get to the second level of each elevator, when you only need to go out one way, there will be a maintenance key. You can open the rear door, and that's your maintenance area.
Maintenance vestibule.
Yes, and so everything is purely enclosed in that, and you would only the people that would need access to that rear opening at the second level.
Where can we see the dimensions of this elevator tower?
On the structural bridge plan.
Tom, I'll share with you if I may, that elevator is per criteria. It is a glass elevator, double wide for bicycle. It's uniquely expensive. I mean, I don't know what it ended up being as a cost component of the job. We stuck to the criteria. It might be 7%.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm just.
I'm just sharing with you that if you could, it's an expensive.
It's a great looking tower. I just want to know where the dimensions are. They're somewhere in here. I just don't know what page.
Yeah, we started around, right, what was it?
The elevator illuminate, like the tower, runway.
There's some lighting.
So that's the length of the building, and when the elevator comes up, you have an area out in the front. In which direction is that pointing?
this is the north end.
Indirect.
Both sides. This is just showing.
At the grade level. So at the second level, there'd be another one. Gotcha. Thank you.
Also act as a focal point for the students to know where they have to walk to get on the elevator at night. One of the issues I think the students have is they're not parking on the accredited garages because they're scared to cross the street. Because it's dark at night, I see that.
Well, that crossing that street at any time of the day is a
Right.
and
They go out partying, they come back.
Yeah, no, that's a danger.
They just park in someone's yard and they're having issues at Sweetwater because of that. So illumination and safety crossing the street is a great factor.
Since we're talking about things, it'd be nice if this area, whether it's incorporated in this project or a future time, it'd be nice if this area had some landscaping. So even if we don't necessarily want people to walk, but we don't necessarily want an eyesore in the middle of the work of art either. So even if it's very modest, and I'm not sure you want people to come and hang out here, but it would be nice if then it's treated in some kind of fashion.
Piggybacking on that point, sir, in terms of shade, because right now it's Miami has been a big problem, we're somewhat lacking something to really be improved. So how's at least the first two streets and the complete street going to change shade and moving wise?
Going north?
Going into the street wide.
There are, if you look at the plans, there are street trees integrated as part of the programming. So if you look at the plans, there's regular street trees that are part of the campus trees that are part of the plan.
Yeah, it's in
While they're looking, is there anybody who knows what the height of the trees are that you have planned for 109?
They're pretty mature.
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
Could you elaborate a little bit on the drainage?
the drainage.
Yeah. What do you do with the water on the roof?
So the water on the roof is coming into this space right here, and we've got it encased in that, so then it comes into the system for direct drainage into the existing. You want to take it from there?
Yeah, there's an existing drainage that we were asked to tie to. Initially, we thought we would take the water towards the canal, but that's against the plan. And so there's an existing drain collection system, culverts or underground piping, if you will, that it's our understanding that was the preference to tie to that. And so that's why we've utilized this particular concept.
The bridge has longitudinal slope.
Yes,
Is it slope, the whole bridge sloped one
slightly, yes,
towards south?
to the south.
Could you go forward about 3 slides?
That's the drain pipe, the main
Yes.
bottom drain pipe.
We put it at kind of an inflection point and just carried it as
And
a
then
feature.
the top is collected.
So how are you taking water from the top to the?
From the top, go back.
From the roof.
From the roof, he wants to know from the roof.
No,
We go back.
I just want to make a quick comment on that. You know, whether we can do this now or in the future, it'd be nice if we had a plan for landscaping that bank all the way to 107. If that were lined with some form of trees, royal poincianas or some other appropriate tree, in the future when you're driving along that hot road, that would be really quite wonderful.
If I may, in our meetings with South Florida Water Management District, they had very strict guidelines regarding any landscape material that might end up in the canal. They were very concerned with that, so that would have to be carefully worked out with South Florida Water.
Gets in the canal and gets tied up in the bridges.
Typically, there's, what they desire is a 40-foot setback from top of bank, so that they could get equipment in there to clean out and or recreate the slopes of those banks.
Right.
So it is, the plant material that you can put in there is very limited, so that really has to be looked at. I think we should try to wrap it up. We're about 45 minutes overtime. Pretty soon, the public will be here for the deliberations speech. So, we're really, it is your time. This is the committee's time. This is not, MCM's time. They've had their time, but you should try to think about trying to wrap it up. We're not here to do design meetings today.
Eric, tree height. I did have that question, tree height.
Yeah, the street trees, I believe, are 12-foot overall height at installation. So that's the
Canopy of the tree underneath my head will be then what? If the tree
Will be
itself is 12.
like 6 foot clear trunk, 7 foot clear trunk.
Okay.
7 foot. Yeah.
Also, public outreach and awareness, or is that anyone on the horizon, any plans for that? Because concerned and irate residents love me.
So one of the things, and we just couldn't fit everything in the discussion presentation, but we're very, very committed to education, especially of youth. So we work with the National Building Museum on an educational program that takes bridges really through the science and math, and has an educational program for elementary and middle schools. So we have a bridge box that we created with them, and we customize that box, and we would like to then use the customization of this bridge for the Sweetwater schools. And be able to go in and help encourage them as part of STEM with this educational program. And we've used that on lots of projects. Oh, no, that's okay.
I believe that Roberta was talking, what outreach are we going to have as an outreach liaison in our engineering, which we use on all our DOT to reach out, what are they called? Public information officers. I thought that's what you were leading to reach out to the community.
That's I'm huge on STEM, or actually STEAM, architecture and arts. So that's also, but in the big picture, how's the community going to play into this? Because sometimes I think
we're going to need to have an outreach officer that's going to put out the flyers, notices, and one of the things that we like about this, it's really not going to bother anybody. It's going to be completely enclosed. Nobody's going to know what's going to happen. We're going to have three peers, and we're going to swing it one night and say what happened, and then you got about a 90-day piece over there. But you still need some communication.
That's really cool, because if the kids are coming home from school excited about this bridge, and
and I talked to Dr. Adderad about bringing, because I think that this is a very, very unique signature bridge that we're very proud to be part of.
For our engineering students.
This is local. I'm telling you, we don't think it's been built in the United States, that swing stage.
Yeah, that's what the University City is all about. It's really about the cross-fertilization of everything that's going on together, not people on separate.
Yes.
We have the opportunity too for art, whether it's FIU students or the local people, for those benches and all sorts of things. So not even just engineering, but stretching into art and architecture and getting those students.
You didn't comment about her Panthers, man. Her Panthers are pretty unique.
I think the Panthers could be a fundraising opportunity for people to sponsor them.
We're committed to the Brothers to the Rescue.
No, I don't mean for you, I mean for
we see that as a
time out. I think we should focus if there are any questions specifically that that would need to be asked and for you to make your decision in voting. Please ask now or forever hold your peace. But we really need to wind it down.
Traffic control wise, what are the alternative routes going to be and stuff? Generally thinking in terms of trying to minimize the city getting hit.
Well, very limited. We're The amount of time we close the road is essentially the one night. We will have off-peak hour closures to set the stays and things like that, but the detour, we will have to get a detour approved by DOT, and Sweetwater will be involved in the detour route, but we will close A Street that night for that stand.
So one night, it's a,
Bob, on this picture, right behind that foundation for the pylon, you might need to close the lane, too.
We squeeze
For
westbound.
extended period, because you're gonna be excavating to the bottom of foundation.
Yeah, we did the math, we squeeze 2 lanes to 10 and one 11-foot lane, but we still have the bike lane, but we are able to construct the foundation behind Barry Wall with that lane configuration. So we're tight, but we're compliant.
I had a question regarding the trees here. I was looking at this sheet LP005. It says ficus microcacea. It says 10-foot height. Is that correct on these trees here? And then what's these trees right here? Is that correct? Am I understanding that?
Those are the shrubs underneath.
Oh, the shrubs. So what are the
bigger gumbo limbos?
Okay. I was just curious because there is we have FPNO lines on the east side of the 109, so I just wanted to make sure that we
Correct. Yeah.
Where are the live oaks?
The live oaks?
The reference here.
Yeah, here if you go down onto the south. Oh, they're all there's live oaks here.
So on 109 is Gumbo Limbo.
Correct.
Here is the Oaks.
Okay.
And Oaks.
Going down into the campus also.
We good?
There was an earlier question about the drainage outfall on the canal. We do have it shown here.
Was that question answered? Anyone
Right
unsure?
there. Yeah, there it is.
There's the outfall. I don't know.
So the outfall is immediately at the end of where you terminate
Yes.
Yes.
your wall, which is what I thought you were doing.
Yeah, the return comes in at 90 and.
Right. Okay.
Regarding FDL, there's no interruptions,
FPL. This is a big part of our decision to move this with transport units, was to get out underneath, be able to drive it underneath the power lines without an issue. They will be relocated by the day we do this. They will be raised up to the dimension that we have set with FPL based on our design. Because we kept it close, the structure itself is much closer. Denny mentioned it's about 8 foot than a conventional, and we saved about 8 foot. We may not need the height that may have been with other designs, but the power lines will be up. We are able to take the 175-foot span underneath between poles and then walk it out and set it.
But you're assuming the electric lines are raised first?
Yes.
Before you move your bridge?
Yes.
They actually have drawings to show the cross-section with the relocated power lines. And when we get to the deliberations, you're going to be free to pull out the drawings and review them and discuss them. So, I don't think, it's okay if you want to ask these questions, but you'll still have another opportunity to,
Bob, so our engineer should stay present because that question is, that is to you private.
Sorry, but you cannot,
We don't plan to.
you can't participate in the deliberations.
No, I didn't think so. I kind of.
Thank you. Thanks for the offer, though.
No. I thought that's what you were, referring to, that you're going to be asking more questions.
We have our design criteria professional.
Okay, good.
He's more than capable of helping us. All right. Well, thank you so much.
OFIU.